excellent breakfast option for your keto kid. They're light, fluffy, and have a neutral flavor. For the ingredients, we'll need soy flour, Philadelphia cream cheese, mayonnaise, baking soda, egg white, your choice of carbohydrate. In this case, we chose strawberries for topping, and butter. To begin this recipe, I will mix together the soy flour. Soy flour can also be exchanged with any similar flour with the same consistency, such as almond flour, coconut flour, although it may be very small. Room temperature cream cheese. You want to be sure that it's room temperature. The reason is because you want to make sure that when you're mixing it, it's not cold, so there's no chunks. If there's chunks, it might be unevenly mixed, which can cause uneven distribution during cooking. Mayonnaise. We chose fat as the mayonnaise because mayonnaise usually holds up way better in baking than butter or oil. Reason being is because it doesn't leak out, such as oil and butter. And a pinch of baking soda. You only need a very small amount. If you use too much baking soda, it actually will affect the flavor and become very pungent and bitter, so you want to avoid that. We'll now mix all of this together. Okay, now we'll set this bowl aside and we will begin to whip our egg whites. In doing so, we're going to use an ingredient called cream of tartar. What cream of tartar does is it helps hold together the egg whites during the whipping process. If you notice in the recipe, it says whip until it forms medium to stiff peaks. This will help it get to that point. If you don't add cream of tartar, suppose you don't have it in your household, that's perfectly fine. Just keep in mind that the egg whites will not be as firm as if you did use it. You only need a tiny amount. I'll be using an aerator. However, if you use a handheld mixer, that's also doable, or if you have a tabletop mixer, that works as well. The longer you whip the egg whites, the fluffier your pancakes will be. If you choose to not whip your egg whites for any reason, suppose you don't have a hand mixer or an aerator, that's perfectly fine. Just keep in mind that your pancakes won't be very fluffy. Cream cheese can also be substituted for yogurt. However, the consistency when it's finished cooking will be more along the lines of a crepe than a pancake, but it is an option. Now, once we're all finished with that, we're going to mix the egg whites into the mixture that we've mixed earlier. All of these ingredients have already been weighed ahead of time. Just keep in mind that when you are portioning this out for your own child's meal, you will need to calculate it to your child's meal plan, as well as weigh it on a gram scale. Carefully mix all of the ingredients together. You don't want to whip it too viciously, because if you do, the air will come out of the egg white, which you want to avoid that happening, or else the pancakes won't be as fluffy. Be sure that you've thoroughly combined all of the ingredients. You've mixed out all of the lumps of cream cheese and everything is evenly distributed. Once that's complete, we can now move over to the stovetop and begin making our pancakes. I'm spraying the pan with canola oil non-stick cooking spray. This will help us remove the pancakes once they are finished cooking. Depending on the ratio that your child is on, you may have a large yield or you may have a small yield. It depends. However, this is about, I want to say a small to a medium yield. This is a 4-to-1 ratio. So we may get 1 or 2 pancakes out of it. However, you can make one large one or multiple small ones. Pour the batter right into the pan, forming pancakes. I've turned the heat on low. The reason why I've turned the heat on low is these pancakes cook very slowly. If you put the heat on too high, it'll scorch the outer exterior of the pancake and will not cook the inside properly. So you want to cook it on a low to a medium heat to prevent that from happening. You also want to cover with a lid. When you cover the pan with a lid, it'll help the heat come from the bottom, go through the middle, and then circulate throughout the pan. This way that the pancakes are cooked evenly. This will take approximately 15 to 20 minutes. However, we are going to keep an eye on it just in case. All stoves are differently, so you want to make sure you watch. As you can see, the pancakes are all completed. Place the remaining butter over top of the pancakes. It's best to do this when the pancakes are still hot from the stove, this way it melts throughout. And then top with your weighed carbohydrate. Like I said before, in this instance we use strawberries. Enjoy!
Pancakes are an all-time favorite. Sugar-free chocolate chips or blueberries can be added to the batter for variety. Da Vinci Gourmet sugar-free pancake syrup or Walden Farms pancake syrup are delicious toppings for these pancakes.